welcome back to my channel. Today's Friday, March the 9th, and I just want to welcome all of my new subscribers and all of my previous subscribers. And if you're new here, just please hit the subscribe button down there, and if you like it, give me a thumbs up. Thank you so much. Y'all have been so kind to me, and I really appreciate it. Anyway, we're going to continue with the story of my marriage to Scotty. So after the honeymoon, we came back to live in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Scotty was attending the University of Southern Mississippi full time. He was pursuing a degree in business administration. And then he worked part-time at the bottling company. I think it was maybe the Pepsi Cola. I don't really remember for sure. So we moved into the marriage dormitory, and it was just this square concrete block building, and it was just cold, and I don't know. I did the best that I could. So we moved in there, and I remember the first meal that I cooked. It was spaghetti sauce and meat sauce and spaghetti. Of course, y'all know Dort never taught me a thing about how to cook. So my first meal, I made the spaghetti sauce with ketchup, and it was horrible. We just had to throw it away. So, I tried my best to be a good wife and to try to adapt to Scott and his little habit that he had. But it just grossed me out so much. I couldn't even think of him as Scott anymore. It was just Little Scotty from then on. Him and his faux fi. By then, it was like going into the marriage 2 to 3 weeks. And he was still going after it with his faux fi. And he would get up in the mornings, and that's the first thing he would do. Sit on the edge of the bed. By then, both ends were worn out. My poor pillowcases didn't have a chance of a snowball in hell. But he would just sit there in the mornings, go get a cup of coffee or something like a normal person. Now, I realized I was married to a freak show. He would sit there in the mornings with his faux fi, and he'd just hold it and have it in his ear, faux fi and whatever he was doing, just with his tongue hanging out. And then he would go to class, and when he would come home from class, he would go sit on the edge of the bed and do that same thing. And it just grossed me out. I couldn't stand it. So I got the car. We only had the one car. He began to be very controlling. He would not let me have a car. So I borrowed the car, and I went to Lumberton, and I had to talk to my mother about it. And I said, Mama, this is what he does. It's disgusting, and it's grossing me out. And she goes, well, you made your bed, you sleep in it. So, I knew then that I had to go back to Hattiesburg and try to do the best that I could. Well, I had never worked, and so I was trying to get me a job. And Scotty's mother, her name was Gertie, and she was an accountant for a firm there in Hattiesburg. Well, Gertie, she always had like a red face, and I didn't know what was going on. Well, one day Scotty took me over to her house, and he started showing me around. Well, he lifted up her mattress, and underneath her mattress was a bottle of vodka. And then he goes into her closet, and he moves some clothing from the top shelf. There's another bottle of vodka. I mean, Gertie had vodka hidden all over that house. And little Scotty, you better believe he knew where every bottle was. So anyway, Gertie belonged to the First Methodist Church there on Hardy Street in Hattiesburg. So she knew the people there, and so she helped me get a job in the office. And I didn't stay very long. I did not like it at all. But we would go to church, and me and little Scotty would be sitting there on the pew, and they would start the singing and everything, and and then they would have prayer and all that, and then they would start another song and sing, and everybody would sit down. Well, then there comes Gertie walking in late, and she goes all the way to the front pew and sits down. So I asked Scott, I mean, she did this every Sunday. I said, why does she come in late every Sunday? And he said, because she wants everybody to know that she's proud. I'm telling you, this was a weird ass family. Well, you know, back then the mini skirts were real popular. And when I was dating Little Scotty, I could wear the mini skirts. But after I married him, you know, I was not allowed to wear a mini skirt. So I had Aunt Sybil make me some pants to match the mini skirt. The top, it was like a dress, but it was, you know, real short, like a mini dress. So Aunt Sybil made me the pants. And whenever I would leave the house, I would wear the pantsuit. But whenever I got to where I was going, I would take the pants off. But he just started being totally controlling. And it was just so disgusting, him and the faux fi. Well, anyway, that was March the 1st when we got married. And then we finally got settled into our apartment. And I was really trying my best to make it work. But it seemed like every time I turned around, he was doing something else to gross me out. So anyway, my sister, she had her baby in April. So the baby was born at Forest General Hospital there in Hattiesburg. So I went over there one night to see my sister and my nephew. So when I went in to see my sister, she said, Cynthia's here and Harold. She said their baby was born. She had a little boy. Well, that really upset me. And I was not about to go down in the nursery and look at that baby. I wanted nothing to do with it. I was still so mad at Harold because he got Cynthia pregnant and then married her. So anyway, I visited with my sister and everything, and it was dark. It was probably about 8 or 9 o'clock. So I came down and went out in the parking lot and went to get in the 1964 Chevy that Little Scotty had let me borrow. So I go to get in the car, and there's Harold, parked right there beside me, waiting for me to come out. Now, how he knew I was in there and how he knew what kind of car I was driving, I'll never know. But I was not about to let him know how much he had hurt me. And I just so happened to have the pictures of the wedding in the car. So Harold got in the car with me, and we started talking, and I was just acting like I was so happy and, you know, so proud to be married, and showing him those beautiful pictures of the wedding and everything. And, you know, I don't really remember what we talked about, but I just remembered that I was going to be very sure not to let him know how much he had hurt me. So anyway, you know, we parted ways, and he left, and I didn't see him again for many, many years. So I went back home to Scotty, and he's sitting there with his little faux fi. So if y'all want to leave your comments, I really get a kick out of what you have to say. Thanks, guys. I love you. Bye.